Hello, is Mr. Coleman there?
Is this Destin?
This is Dustin from KMSU, and I'm here with my co-host, Ton.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey. So hold on just a moment, please. And you should be there. Are you there?
We're here.
The question is, are we all here, or are you there, or am I here?
Ton, are you here?
I'm here.
There. Well, one moment, please. You're there. Oh, now I'm completely confused. You're there and I'm here, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Amazing how that happens. All right, then.
Well, do you mind answering a few questions for us?
Okay, hold on just a second. Let me get this straight. This is an interview, right?
Yes.
And an interview would be like a few questions or something, right?
Right.
Okay, then I suppose if I say yes to an interview, you can ask a few questions and I wouldn't mind, right?
Hopefully.
Hopefully nothing. Hopefully there's a few questions coming my way for me to answer. Otherwise, I here doing absolutely nothing with nobody for no reason, no how.
Oh man.
Goodness gracious. Okay, so hold on just a minute. You guys do what you do because you got the show. I'm just sitting here all by myself in my closet.
All right.
No place to go. So you steer it.
Well, we will ask you. I can hear myself in the back. Is that creepy or?
That is creepy, man. You're creeping me out. What are you doing? How do you do that?
Sorry about that. I don't know. Must be
ridiculous.
The acoustics in your closet there.
Do you just do that in your sleep? No, wait a second.
He does that in his free time, yeah. When we're out places, he makes it sound like he's behind me to be extra creepy. It's a regular thing.
God, I hate it when people do that,
That's
man.
his
You're
routine.
doing that 3D thing again. You're doing that 3D thing where you sound like you're all around me, and I hate it.
Yep, that's what I do. And then I try to convince him to do it to chicks, but it doesn't really happen.
And then chicks go, oh.
Well, not exactly. I mean, have you listened to this man's voice? These sultry tones, usually they start kind of melting in their seat, but...
Oh, no, are you kidding me? I hear that voice, and I just go,
There you go.
Oh, amazing. Well, let's...
See, that's all it takes is just a sultry voice.
I sound kind of like the Wolfman.
Oh, don't get me going there.
Let me...
That's way too far back.
Okay, so obviously you're you're extremely, what do I say, experienced and fairly talented in your craft. How did you get started in voice acting and just doing voices and things?
When I was a kid, I wasn't one of these kids that grew up going, I want to do that, I'm going to be him, I'm going to, make like him. I was a kid and just watched cartoons and thought it was cool. When I was on the radio in Cleveland in the mid-'70s to the mid-'80s, I got to a point where I thought, I've done everything that I want to do or that I could think to do in a market like Cleveland, where I was, now don't laugh, but I was modeling, okay? And I was doing theater, community theater. I was doing musicals. I was doing TV. I was doing TV news, if you can believe it. I was on the air every day. I was doing anything that had to do with entertainment industry or media. I felt like I had done just like everything I can. I had an agent that covered me for all that stuff, and I was booking, I was making money. But it got to a point where, in around 1984, I realized I was making more money doing voiceover commercials on the side, doing freelance voiceover work, than I was doing on the radio as a DJ and a production director at the radio station. This is just not right. So I came out to L.A. after the Olympics in '84, looked for a place to live, and long story short, found a place, and within 2 weeks we were living here. Here I found myself in this place that I didn't know, ended up with an agent really quick, luckily, got me on a bunch of auditions really quick, luckily, and I found myself within about 6 or 7 months, it was in, I'll say March of '85, that they sent me out on an audition for Inspector Gadget. And the show was just coming to an end. They had 10 more episodes of this 65-episode series they'd done. And for whatever reason, they created this little character named Corporal Cape Man, to come in for the last 10 episodes. And I went in, I auditioned for this thing. I came off an on-camera audition for a national network TV commercial for Kraft barbecue sauce, of all things, that I ended up getting. And I was so high, on the adrenaline of that callback audition for the on-camera thing, that I went into this cartoon. It's like a cartoon. What? I don't know. And they showed me a picture of the character, gave me some words to say. I looked at the picture and I thought, oh well, duh, I know what that sounds like. And so I did the guy, and they laughed, liked it, and we kind of played around with it a little bit, tried some other things with it, and they ended up booking me on the show. I mean, it was like just such dumb luck. It just fell in my lap out of nowhere at a time when I don't know if stuff like that happens anymore or not. But, had that not happened, I definitely would not have ever ended up in cartoons, because it would not have been something I would have tried to pursue. I just wasn't going to go, hey, I want to be the voice of, hey, let me try and, I wasn't one of those guys. So there I found myself in that first session sitting next to Maurice LaMarche and Frank Welker and of course, Don Adams, and it was just the four of us in the studio, and, I'm looking around going, okay, well, it's a little different. It's not Cleveland.
Did you get the role in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles around that time then?
Just shortly after that. It's sort of one thing leads to another in this business. You start getting to know people, and, one dialogue director, hears about you, or a casting person hears about you, or you find yourself just meeting people. It's a fairly small community back then. I just sort of went with it. And what happened with Ninja Turtles was I was working on a show called Fraggle Rock. And the guy who was voice directing, doing the dialogue directing on Fraggle Rock, he came into one of the sessions one day with a Ninja Turtles comic book in his bag. He opens his bag. He says, "You guys are not going to believe this. Look at this." And he opens the bag. He pulls out the comic, and we look at him and we say, "Yeah." And he says, "This is the next animated show I'm going to be directing." I'm like, "What?" He says, "Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles." And the name's probably going to change and stuff, but we're thinking, what the? I mean, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's like they're just they're just stretching, reaching to try and come up with the craziest stuff that they can to, put on the air. And we thought, well, you know what? Hey, if you bring us into audition, we'll audition. It's another gig. Who knows? And obviously, Dustin, at that point, none of us happened to know or had any clue of what Ninja Turtles, might turn into. But we went in, we read, auditioned, and I ended up getting the part of Michelangelo, although it was sort of a kind of a stare down between. I don't mean it like that. It's not like we're at the OK Corral and it's me and Cam Clark and we're going, all right, who's going to get Michelangelo and who's going to get Leonardo? But at the time, they really didn't know. They knew that Rob was going to be Raphael, and they knew that Barry was going to be Donatello, and they just had not decided at that point whether I was going to be Michelangelo or Leonardo. So, we got to that first session and started recording just, a quick read-through, and the dialogue director said, Tony, why don't you just go ahead and do Michelangelo first? Cam, you do Leonardo, and then we'll do it, one read-through first, and then we'll switch it on the second read-through, and then make our decision afterwards. And, he said, well, all right, okay, here we go. And so we did that, but as it turned out, the nature of that first recording, as I recall, was there was a little tension going on. I never quite figured out, what or why, but for whatever reason, after that first read-through, they're paying attention to whether it was me or Cam as Leonardo / Michelangelo was long gone. They were thinking about. They were clearly focused on other things more important. And so we did a second read through, and they never had us change. So I did the second recording, again as Michelangelo, and same with Cam as Leonardo, and it just stayed like that. That was this 5-part miniseries we were recording as the pilot for Ninja Turtles. And that was in, I want to say that was in '86. I still got those original scripts somewhere in my garage, lying around someplace. But yeah, that was that 5-episode miniseries that we were doing, and after that, once the thing got picked up and sold and put on the air, it's like we never heard any more about switching parts or trying the two of us in different arrangements. So that's the way it stayed, and I kind of landed with Michelangelo in my lap and Cam with Leonardo, and the rest, as they say, is history.
You did some voices for other characters too, right?
Yeah, a little bit. My experience has been that I don't, and I never really have fancied myself as one of the, Frank Welkers of the business, the Rob Paulsons and the Cam Clarks and Jess Harnells and those guys they've got 1 billion voices in them, these guys. It's just amazing to me. Somehow I sort of managed to, by luck, initially eke out a kind of carve out a little slice for myself in this business. But what I found is that on most of the shows that I've done, when I've booked a show and they've cast me as a character, that's the character that I play. That all the other ancillary, incidental, what they call incidental characters or guest characters on an episode, I typically don't get. they don't throw my way. I just stay the character that they book me as, and that's where my most of my focus, my energy goes. Occasionally they'll throw a little something else my way, but yeah, Ninja Turtles I did. The only other characters I think of note, if you can say that, are the Rat King and Usagi Yojimbo.
Okay.
I think that's on that show. I mean, listen, I'm sure that there are probably a bunch of episodes early on where I was like bad guy number 3, bank robber, number 2,
Yeah.
Those kind of guys. But for the most part, yeah, they just left me, as Michelangelo. And then if Rat King or Usagi Yojimbo showed up in an episode, then I would do that. But
Were you surprised at how successful that show became?
yes, shocked, totally shocked. I don't think any of us thought it was going to turn into what it turned into. And continues to be. I mean, long after our series ended, we went about 10 years with it, and then there were a couple of different series, TMNT series after that we had nothing to do with. But the whole franchise just continued to kind of barrel along, and after a while you get to a point where you go, okay, I sort of see what this is about. I'm not really that surprised, but early on we were like, after a couple of seasons, we're going, what in the world is so special about this? The kids would be writing us fan mail, and kids would be writing us, Mr. Coleman, I can't tell you, what you did on Michelangelo just changed my life when you said da 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 in such and such an episode, and you just want to go, oh, I'm so glad, but I'm a voice actor. I'm not, I didn't write this stuff. It's not like coming out of my brain. I'm just reading words on a page and, hopefully making them come to life. And by saying that, you always risk, having somebody going, oh, really? That's it. Oh, geez, I was hoping he was. Like, no, you know what? I'm a hired gun. This is what I do for a living. Put words in front of me and I try and make them, do something.